Hi everyone, hope you're all well, and a big warm welcome to episode 1 of Inside the Nothing Box with my dear friend Panners. You will notice that he is significantly older than me, but what comes with age is you're much wiser as well, my darling.
Thank you, mate. Well, welcome everyone, and obviously this is our first kind of foray into a brave new world for us, so please do bear with us. And as this is our first show, we're going to cover a little bit about ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
And our careers, and perhaps an update on what we've been doing since we've been out of the corporate world, and perhaps a little bit around as what it's been like in adapting to that change. So
we will be sure to have a bit of a laugh along the way. I think that was what most people remember us for, just making things a little bit light-hearted. So we will have a mess around. We will apologise for a little bit of salty language, which may or may not rear its head as we go through these. And, you know, first one we're going to do today is kind of like what led us up to kind of leaving Barclays, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, there's some good and some bad around that, and we'll try and have a little bit of laugh along the way.
So yeah, I think that you summed it up well. So we're going to try and get that balance right for you between having a bit of a laugh, but also drawing out some of the kind of more serious points of the challenges of working in big organisations. Obviously, banking is where we've come from, but we think it's appropriate across all businesses too. Yeah. So sit back. We hope you enjoy it. I know you got some good feedback on your post, Turps, didn't you?
Yeah, look, I think I've only posted about 3 things on LinkedIn, but the amount of reactions on LinkedIn actually puts us under a little bit of pressure. So it's fair to say that I'm shitting myself a little bit. There's swear word number 1. Sorry, I knew it wouldn't last. But look, we're going to give it a go. Hopefully, there will be a serious undertone in amongst all of it, all right? We will try and have a laugh along the way. But, you know, combined, we've done 80 years in the bank, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and we've had a good bat at it, and if we can give anything to, if you're listening, if you're in the car, hopefully we keep you awake and don't cause any accidents on any major highways, or if you're on the train, or if you're at home or whatever. One thing I would say though, Graham, is we ain't got the right answers. Yeah. No. We'll have a bit of fun along the way, and we're basically going to share our experiences and what you always used to say, Graham, which really helped, was maybe coping strategies, you know. So most importantly, we'll keep it real as we go along. Yeah?
Cool. Shall we just get on with it then?
Why not?
Okay.
Let's do it.
It's fun when we're together. It's fun just hanging out. It's fun when you're around. There's nothing better.
You all right, mate? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good as gold, actually. A little bit of trepidation around what we're going to do, our first foray into podcasting, but you?
Yeah, a bit the same, really. It's like kind of never done this before, and no idea whether there's like going to be 2 people listening or 200. Probably nearer 2.
Yeah, fair.
But anyway, we'll give it a go. See where we get to.
We'll give it a go, and I think it's probably worthwhile heading up first. Why is it called Inside the Nothing Box?
That's a good question, and it's a bit tenuous, I suppose. But as you know, I'm lucky enough to go to Barbados quite a bit, and I was out there in Jan with my son, and we went to this bar called the Nothing Box. And it was great, but he said, you've got to go, it's really cool. We went there, and it was cool, and I liked it. But I was quite curious as to why it was called the Nothing Box. Seems a strange name for a bar. So I looked it up, and I found that actually the Nothing Box relates to a theory that is an actual theory about men's brains. And it's about how men have got that ability to compartmentalise their thoughts into little boxes or drawers in their brain that allows them on occasions to think of absolutely nothing. And as you and I spend quite a lot of time both individually and together thinking of absolutely nothing or talking about absolutely nothing, it sounded like a good metaphor for you and I. So that was it. And not only that, as you know, we're at the end of my garden in our garden room, and we could kind of call this the Nothing Box. So we're physically inside the Nothing Box as well. So that was it.
I think that's a very fair answer. I mean, you were in danger of losing me, but fair play, mate. Inside the Nothing Box. Welcome.
first show. I just want. Not everyone knows you, believe it or not. I know most people know you,
Wow.
but I just wonder whether to help our 3 listeners, the 2 that don't know you or the 1 that doesn't know, if we could just find out a bit more about you, and rather than let you, because you're a humble guy. Can't believe I just said those words. You are a humble guy. Wow. And so I thought rather than ask you to kind of blow your own trumpet, as it were, I've got a few questions that I've got from the internet that I just thought I'd Google up.
You know how to use it?
Yeah, no, just about, yeah. So I Googled up that thing of, either or.
Go on.
So unfortunately, it's kind of a binary thing. So you can't you've got to come up.
I get it.
You understand it, right. Okay, so there's quite a few questions, so I'll try and rattle through them.
Such a bell end at time.
So let's start with, the first question that it came up with is, so when you're on a beach, are you more likely to wear a Ralph Lauren shirt or a Gant shirt? That's a full long sleeve shirt on a beach.
Probably a Ralph Lauren one.
Okay, thank you. If you were getting pissed at an expensive fish restaurant in Soho, and you were eating a highly expensive seafood platter, would you be more likely to steal the person who you were eating's with portion of lobster or their crab?
I'd probably steal their lobster.
Okay, I think I can vouch that that's true. Who do you hate the most, Arsenal or Tottenham?
Arsenal.
And why?
We want to keep this down to half an hour.
Yeah, okay, let's not go into that then.
Yeah.
Would you rather be, right now, in Antigua or Barbados?
I know Barbados is your second home, but I'm Antiguan, mate. That's my second home.
You're Antiguan?
Well, I'm obviously not, am I?
Oh.
Why'd you have to split hairs?
Because that's what we do. When you can't physically drink any more Peroni,
Yeah.
it's amazing, this is random off the internet, and you're choosing from the top shelf,
Yeah.
are you more likely to choose vodka or gin?
Gin.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I don't know why. I just thought you were a gin drinker. You're really. I was going to say. Oh, I can't believe it's come up. When you're, I know you're a big, massive social media user and fan. So, and an influencer now these days, having done your recent
Can you
LinkedIn.
sort of get to the question?
Yeah. Do you prefer TikTok or Insta?
Oh, TikTok.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not sure how to use Instagram.
MySpace or Friends Reunited probably would have been a better question for you, but don't worry, we'll move on from that. But you are enjoying your newfound media, kind of social media stardom, aren't you? Your first post for like ever, and you get like 500 people liking it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Although I think I got lucky with probably 1 or 2 people resharing it, and then that went out into the ether.
Mate. That's how
I
viral
know.
happens.
I know. It was I think it was my first ever LinkedIn post.
It wasn't, because I looked back and you did do a couple.
Oh, did I?
Where, yeah, they weren't very good, to be honest, and only about 3 people looked at them. But,
Thanks for that, mate.
so, moving on from that, do you consider yourself to be a myth or a legend? Because according to LinkedIn, a couple of people said you are a legend.
I'm definitely no legend. Let's not worry about that.
Okay. Apparently
Absolutely.
other people think so.
Well, that's very kind, but 101
so that means you're a myth.
It's a shit question, so let's just carry on.
Okay, we'll carry on. When casually strolling along a European harbour on your way to a posh restaurant,
Yeah.
would you rather drape over your shoulders a lemon cashmere sweater or a pink one?
I probably. Anyway, have you got any more?
Yeah, I've got loads. Lemon or pink?
Probably pink, if
Okay.
I'm honest.
Okay. Would you
You
rather?
do know that real men wear pink.
I know that. Yeah, they wear it though, not drape it, I think is the point. Would you rather see another series of Death in Paradise
Yeah.
with D.I. Humphrey Goodman, or as a detective inspector, or D.I. Neville Parker?
Christ, that's a question.
Yeah.
That is
They're
a
all questions,
great
but-
question. I know it's a question. Oh, it's such a bad.
So I think we.
So-
for those that don't know, you are a massive fan of the Death in Paradise.
I love Death in Paradise. It is grade A quality shit.
Even now.
It's got worse actually. However, I would probably go with Neville. He really grew on me. I thought he was really bad in the first couple of episodes, and then, he's really done it for me, actually. So, there you go.
So you're going for him? Okay.
Yeah. Ralph Little.
Ralph Little.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay. When recovering from a heavy night drinking Peroni and gin, are you more likely to get Uber Eats to deliver McDonald's or KFC?
Neither really, but if I had to, I'd probably go KFC.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you prefer reading factual books or fictional novels?
Factual books.
Factual books. That's interesting, that, because I'm surprised, because I've actually got you a present. By the way, I bought you a present. So I bought you two books, right? So here's my book, which I believe is probably the last one that you read.
Right.
Even though you just got, so there's another signed copy for you there.
Thank you.
And I bought you the only other book you've ever read.
Right, you do know that I was the first person to buy Brown's Not for Town.
How do you know it?
Because you told me.
Where's my
you've devalued it by signing it.
Yeah.
Bellend.
Yeah. And then I bought the only other book you've ever read, which is The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Peter X. Potter, which I know that you enjoyed not that long ago. So I thought I'd give you a signed copy of that as well. So there we go. I haven't really signed it because they're worth money. I wouldn't ruin it.
Is it worth money? Well, then just to piss you off, I'm taking it home.
Last couple of questions.
Yeah.
When you are having one of your middle-class homeowner moments, do you prefer to mow diagonal stripes in your lawn or linear stripes leading from your composite decking?
Linear stripes all day long.
Okay.
You've got to have lines.
Okay.
Oh.
And are you a real Christmas tree man or an expensive fake Christmas tree man?
I've changed coats. Changed coats. Mostly because we had a dog. So I'm fake now, I'm afraid.
Oh, you're gone fake.
It just about sums me up, really, doesn't it?
You've gone fake.
Yeah, we did have real, but Fred used to get them in his paws, so
Okay. Bless him.
done the honourable thing.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Turps is like the Michael Bublé of Sig Cup. Christmas comes to him, and
Absolutely.
it's
I love it.
quite impressive. Last couple. When you're relaxing on your sunbed in your shirt, polo, Ralph Lauren, are you more likely to listen to Elton John or Barry Manilow?
Right. Neither.
Oh.
But I know why you asked it. Because I read somewhere last week that Barry
I didn't know,
Manilow...
it just came up randomly.
Yeah, it didn't. You're such an idiot. Barry Manilow's got an album coming out. First one in 15 years. I just happened to read it. I told you, and you've rinsed me ever since.
Yeah. So Barry Manilow's the answer to the
Yeah,
question.
probably.
Yeah. When you have absolutely no idea what you're doing, are you more likely to ask for help or make shit up?
Oh, make shit up.
Okay, just good.
It's an art.
Good for everyone to know that, isn't it? That's good. And I think we're probably. Oh yeah, line bike. Yes or no?
No, because you nearly killed me on one, you absolute idiot. And it's only about halfway, bloody after riding it, I realised that they were like electrically powered. Just
yeah,
as
I
I
didn't
came
mention
up to the lights at
Yeah.
London Bridge.
Yeah, true. And would you rather or prefer to talk to a dolphin or a whale?
All day long, it's got to be a whale. All day.
You think whales can talk? Do you?
In later episodes, we'll explain this. But yeah,
Okay. And final question: would you rather be known for always being honest or always being kind?
I think being honest, because I think that is, if you're honest, you're being kind.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your honesty in answering the question.
Did you find that kind?
Yes. Tell everyone a little bit more about your career then. Turps.
Yeah, okay, right. So I joined Barclays when I just turned, I think 17, 18. And I'd applied for every single high street bank. That's what you did in the day, right?
4 of them.
Yeah, all 4 of them. How things have changed, right?
Yeah.
And Coots as well.
Oh right. Yeah, we don't really count those.
They didn't actually respond to me at all. There you go, proof's in the pudding. So I got an interview with Barclays in about January or the February of 1989. Went for the interview, remember it vividly, Dingwall Road in Croydon. And I got a letter about 2 days later, basically saying you've been unsuccessful, right? The following day, I got a letter with a start date. So I'm not sure if HR's changed much in
No,
36
clearly
years. So I got a start date, and that wasn't until November. So I had the whole summer off playing cricket. Lovely, yeah, it was lovely. But look, I started uptown, which I really wanted. I wanted to commute. I wanted to be in London. And I remember my first day vividly. Worked with quite a young team, so that was quite a challenge working with a young team because new environments, and I went to an all boys school, so all of a sudden I'm now with females in this environment, and I loved it. And I figured out really early on that yes, I wasn't academically blessed. Mm-hmm. So I was the first year for GCSEs, and I got 1 grade C. All the rest were lower down the alphabet, shall we say. I didn't do A-levels. I actually did retakes and got worse. So academically, I'm a failure.
So
right?
what was your 1 GCSE in, just so we know what your specialist topic is?
Geography.
Geography?
Yeah, geography.
Oh. Surprised you were so late coming here then. Anyway, sorry, crack on.
Yeah, all right, I'll take that one. So, the reason why I've mentioned this though, early on into my career, I realised, right, I'm going to bring a sporting mentality into my career, right? So
Wow.
I want to lead, because I was always a captain at all of the sports that I ever played, right? So I always had an element of leadership in me, although it was under the banner of being a captain, whether it was cricket, hockey, basketball, football, rugby. And I was fiercely competitive, but I always thought in a quiet way, yeah? So I figured out early on, I reckon I could lead people here in this environment, but the big sort of monkey on my shoulder or monkey on your back was I was acutely aware of my academic shortcomings. And actually, Graham, I don't mind sharing it with you, and I probably never have. That stayed with me probably up until my early 40s. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even when I became a director, it was still in the back of my mind because I was so academically behind everybody else. Yeah. I'd sit around a boardroom and it would be on my mind.
So it sounds like a big kind of dollop of imposter syndrome.
Massive. So anyway, fast forward. I'm not going to bore you with all the roles and all of that sort of stuff, but you know what? Barclays, as many companies that people work for, they were good to their people in the main. Mm-hmm. Yeah, holidays, share saves, career path. They were good to us, right? So look, I went a very, very linear route through my career, through retail banking. I never went into business banking. Never went into any other field other than retail banking. And you could say I was lucky to get into a director position, because normally people come into that with more breadth of the business and more experience elsewhere. But I was fortunate enough to have a fantastic sponsor at that time, and he's actually the other side of this camera, and we'll talk about him later. So Bipan, who people will get to know and hear, he sponsored me to my then regional director, and then I had to get through the interviews, etc., and landed where I landed. And do you know what? Honestly, the first 2 or 3 years in role, I did suffer with imposter syndrome. I'd sit around the table, all these, degree-educated directors, and I would be sitting there thinking, I remember board meetings, I'd be going, oh God, I've been sitting here for an hour and I've not said anything. Mm-hmm. And it used to fester away, and it was just horrendous. Anyway, look.
I once worked with a very wise guy, a senior guy, and he said to me, because I did the same, I apologised once for not saying something, and he just said to me, it's much better to say nothing than to bullshit and make a fool of yourself.
And I was stuck between a rock and a hard place on both of them, So I felt there was a pivotal time, and I will come to that maybe in another episode if we last more than one episode. But look, I had a great career. My last 20 years as a director was, honestly, it was the best job I ever had in my life. It was fantastic. I loved it.
And what did you really love about it?
I loved having the confidence to be me and walk in my own shoes, take the directive which was coming down, which was the corporate directive and the plan and the shape and what we needed to achieve, but having the confidence in myself to be able to lead anything up to 1,000 people in delivering against those objectives. Stay within the guide rails, but have the confidence to play within the guide rails to deliver it. It was immensely rewarding, more so, and for anyone who is bothering to listen to this, be yourself. Because you're not being employed to pretend to be someone else. Be yourself. And it ain't always easy to be yourself. Because do I fit in? And my big bugbear was, do I fit into this corporate world being basically uneducated? Yeah, I mean, I was educated, obviously, but I didn't have the grades to show for it. And everyone else around you's got master's degrees, etc., etc. So, anyway, great career, really enjoyed it. And, you know, look, Graham, I had the pleasure of working with you for a period of time, but then when you'd gone, I always have this vision that I would look to retire at 53 or 54. And that came about as I just turned 54. We were going, you've been through them yourself, obviously, that's why we're both sitting here, but I wasn't offered. Redundancy was coming round.
Yeah.
We were going from, I think, 18 directors to 14. And
the continual kind of wheel of
absolutely
downsizing and restructuring and all of that. That
and
seems to be a permanent thing.
It does, and it's probably permanent in, you know, people who are listening. It will be the same for everyone. And actually, for me, it creates this grey cloud culture. All right, and we'll probably come on to that a little bit later in what we're talking about. So, I was actually asked, would you consider, you know, if it was on the table, would you like to take it? Which I thought was a wonderful way of doing it. I actually felt that I was being thanked for my 36 years in Barclays. By the way, I was not scared about redundancy for the last 4 or 5 rounds that it happened at director level. That's not being arrogant, because I can't spell arrogant, let alone be it. I was just comfortable in my own shoes, that I was pretty good at what I did. Might not have been everyone's cup of tea, but I always felt that I was able to play the corporate.
So you trusted the system that it would be fair.
So I know why you asked me that question, and we'll come to that.
Rhetorical question.
But I did. But that you got to remember, Graham, I was in control of the answer.
What
right?
do you mean?
So if I'd have said I want to stay, I would have stayed. I actually said I want to go. Look, we'll come to it. Work out your finances. Sit down with some professionals, and I decided the time was right. And I was very lucky to be able to make that decision for me and my family at a relatively young age. So I was blessed with that. And do I regret it? Absolutely hell no. I genuinely don't. Have I felt a little bit lost because of purpose? Yeah, I have. And I think that's why we're sitting here today, doing a bit of this. You know, look, if we can give something back, whether it be through going through redundancy, going through different parts of the corporate industry, challenges that people have, am I worthy, etc., etc. We've experienced a lot together, and you know, I suppose that's why we land at redundancy, right? And what we're talking about. But it was my choice. The numbers stacked up, and I don't regret it at all. I really, really don't. So, mate, you've been out of business now for how long?
Amazingly, nearly 4 years.
Wow, that has gone quick.
Yeah, it has.
And since you've left, what have you been up to? I mean, what have you been up to last week? What have been your highlights? What have you been faffing around doing?
So, that's a good question, because it is so long that I've kind of forgotten big chunks of it for various reasons. But as you may remember, well, in fact, I know you remember, shortly after I left, I wrote a book. It was called Brown's Not for Town, and as you, I believe, described it on LinkedIn last week as the something like the wildly unsuccessful flop that was Brown's Not for Town.
And your problem being?
Well, my problem being that that's not true.
Oh, okay.
because although I might pretend that I've sold only 13 copies, I've actually sold 15. No, I've actually sold nearly 400 copies, which is amazing, really. And I think if you go onto Amazon, link in my normal LinkedIn bio, by the way, you can read the 66 5-star reviews that I've had. And I can tell you where I am on I'm something like 400,000 millionth in Amazon books sales, but
so you're not giving Agatha Christie a run for her money?
Not at the moment. Although there was a time when, shortly after it launched, and lots of people bought it because I kind of pleaded with them to buy it, that it was like in the top 15 on Amazon's, I think they called it business humour or autobiography. And I was actually wedged between Bob Marley's autobiography and a book by Jeremy Clarkson. And my view is, and I love Bob Marley, as you know, I think if he hadn't had a film out, I'd have been above him as well, frankly. So anyway, I wrote that.
Bullshit.
And it's true. I've actually got a photo of it. I'll show you, because I took a photo. So I did that for a couple of years. It did take a long time, but I enjoyed doing it. And more recently, I've started writing another book about Barbados. So it's kind of a guide to all the places off the beaten track, mainly involving rum and drinking and falling over. But so I've been doing that. And the only other thing I've been really doing is my mate runs a music club down the road. So I've been helping him, doing some stuff, working behind the bar down there, listening to live music, which is a dying breed, but which I love listening to. So that's been fun. And I've also been continuing to try and learn to play the drums. You've been doing that ever since you left Barclays? Yeah, I have. And
are you really bad at it?
Yeah, I'm shit. Right. And that's not just my opinion. That's unfortunately the opinion of my drum teacher, Simon. Shout out to Simon, bless him. Who he hasn't actually said I'm shit, but when I say to him, I'm not really sure why I'm trying to carry on doing this, he doesn't kind of disagree.
Is he the guy we met at Chelsea?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's.
When you went to the toilet, he did say you were shit.
Yeah, well, I should listen to my missus, because when I remember saying to I think it was in lockdown, I said, right, I'm going to do two things after lockdown. I'm either going to learn to play the drums, or I'm going to play bowls. You know, it was kind of supposed to be a kind of deliberate, kind of like opposite ends of the spectrum, and they'd all go, don't be silly, Dad, you're far too,
cool,
youthful and cool to play bowls. So they were going to say play the drums. Unfortunately, Lisa, my wife, said, well, I do think that your granddad's bowls are still in the shed. and that was kind of like, she said, well, you've got no rhythm, no beat, no sense of anything, timing, so perhaps bowls is what you should be doing. And 4 or 5 years later, possibly right. But anyway, so I mean, I keep trying, but there you go. And then more recently, last week I went to my daughter's graduation. I think you saw the photo.
Saw that.
So that's Rosie. So
she obviously takes after Mum.
She's so she's just done her master's degree, and we went up to the ceremony up at Westminster Hall. Westminster Hall. Nice. We had to leave at about 5 a.m. It felt like, and she was wonderful. She looked great. She's worked really hard. I was really proud of her. But I know, Joe, 6 hours of my life I'm never getting back. I mean, if you've been to a graduation ceremony, let's be honest, you couldn't give a toss about anyone else, and you have to wait for hours and hours and hours for like 8 seconds of your own child. So so that's what I've been doing anyway. And
did you chuck her out in the air?
No.
I suppose there's a health and safety reason why you're not allowed to do it anymore.
So good to see you're already on your woke nonsense stuff. That's good. Sure, that's a topic we'll cover.
I think I've ever changed. So where am I at now, Graham? Is I've had best part of a year out. I don't want to be answerable to anybody. I just can't envisage ever doing that ever again. Apart from the family, which I'm cool with. But I know we met up in our favourite restaurant, and it was before we'd had a drink, and we decided, we'd like to give something back, and through the art of a podcast. I think we've gone through a combined 80 years worth of retail banking.
Yep.
And I would like to have a laugh. We'll have some fun. We'll take the mickey out of each other. But I do think we've got enough to give back to people, because the corporate world it can be quite a stuffy place. And I also think people's personalities can be ripped away from them. So I think the art of what we'll try and do over the next few months is how to be you, how to deal with certain challenges that you go through. Now, I know we were going to do both of our experiences of how we left the bank.
Yeah.
I think it will be an idea, and look, we can freestyle through these podcasts. I left of my own accord. I know, Graham, you didn't leave of your own accord necessarily, and I think maybe we do that justice in episode 2. So we'll split the 2 out, because I left them. It was my decision, right? So my emotional kind of journey was very different, and I think it would be worth separating the 2. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, mate.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make this all about you, then that's fine. I'm cool with that.
Okay. What? When I ever, even at work, when I used to say things which were serious, you'd always ridicule me.
Well, therein lies probably a very deep-rooted
Sign of love?
sign of love. Indeed. No, look, I think what you've talked about is important. I think we were keen to, as these are our kind of first podcasts, we were keen to give a background to us.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do that justice by giving a bit more detail, because that sets us up for future things, because we want to talk about the things that we've experienced and how we dealt with them, whether that was right or wrong, whether we've done things differently, some of the coping strategies or whatever that we've got. So I think it's right not to rush it, and we don't want people to fall asleep. So I think we'll cover that in my situation in the next podcast.
Let's do that.
Which probably leads me just to ask you what you're up to over the next few weeks.
So Luke, my eldest son, in fact my only son, but he's the eldest of our 5. He's completed he exchanged yesterday, and he completes sometime next week, I think Thursday next week. So I'll be helping him move into his first house with his lovely girlfriend Katie.
Thanks again to everyone for tuning in. We do appreciate it, and we hope you enjoyed it. Obviously today we've spent quite a lot of time giving a bit of background to Turps and myself, and what we've been doing. And as I said in the podcast, it's kind of important that we do give you that context, just so kind of moving forward it makes sense when we talk about some of the things that we've been through. But the purpose going forward of these podcasts are very much around sharing our experience to hopefully help you guys out there who might be going through similar things, and talking about how we dealt with them, whether not saying we did it in the right or the wrong way, but certainly if we can share our own experiences, then there may be things that you're going through and that can help you. So kind of that's it. And also we want to talk about some other topics, mate, don't we?
Yeah, I think a couple of things which we've sort of thought about will be maybe not taking yourself too seriously, seeking to understand stuff. So being curious rather than sort of judgmental.
Yeah.
We'll have a bit of fun along the way. Why are there so many stupid bloody job titles and corporate ridiculous things that go on in life?
Yeah.
The one I really want to look forward to is conferences. Being shipped off to a conference on a Sunday, halfway up the country, and having a coping strategy around that. I think we'll have a bit of fun around that, because we went
Definitely.
to so bloody many. So we'll give you some tips on how to survive.
We will.
And I think we'll probably get some guests in, right?
And by the way, booking a day off on holiday, which is what you did most of the time, isn't one of those tips. But yeah, I mean, I think also we hope to have some guests on as we move forward, once we kind of get into the topics that we want to talk about. We know we've been lucky enough to work with loads of people over the years, so we've got plenty of people that we can ask on, and some others outside of the industry as well that we can invite. And we don't want to just talk about what we want to talk about. We're keen to know what you're interested in, and so what we would like, if you can, is to drop us a line, and you can find us at Panners and Turps at insidethenothingbox.com, and send us some of the things you want to cover, or if you've got any specific questions you want to ask, probably Turps rather than me, but you're welcome to ask either of us, then please do drop us a line on that. In due course, we're going to get our website, and we hope to be able to share some content that we might be able to find around some of the topics that we talk about, so we kind of curate that for you hopefully, and give you a point of reference to kind of get some more information, because certainly we can't cover everything. So I think you wanted to say a thank you as well.
Yeah, big thank you to Bipan Sharma. So was lucky enough to work with Bipan for a long, long time in Barclays, and he's the other side of this camera with his wonderful son, and they've set all of this up for us. Basically, this wouldn't be possible without Bipan. Bipan Productions. I'm sure he's got a real name for it, but you'll get to know him more as we continue on. But big thanks, Bips, because this wouldn't be going out if it wasn't for you, mate.
Absolutely, and the amount of kit he's got is just amazing, right? It's kind of a bit scary, but yeah.
So the truth of the matter is, we thought we did decide to do this sober. I'll just make that really clear, right? We then did have a few beers and a bit of lunch, as we spoke about earlier, and we just thought we could get an iPhone and do this. Yeah, I actually feel like I'm in a studio at the moment, but see the other side of it. But he's done a blinding job, so a big thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. And also, if I could just remind you, if you could subscribe on YouTube, because apparently that helps.
Doesn't cost anything though, does it?
No, it doesn't cost anything.
No.
It's just like a like, right? But apparently it works some algorithm, which means in about 25 years' time we'll be millionaires. So that would be really helpful. So I think that's it, isn't it? And then we'll see everyone in a few weeks' time.
Try and do these once a month, I think, is our game plan. Yeah, okay. Be good.